It's time to preview and predict the Super Rugby Round 2 Friday games. The games we're going to see this weekend, it is the Highlanders versus the Sharks and the Brumbies versus the Rebels. If you want to get the timestamps or the time links, it is in the description or in the comments below. First up, it is the Highlanders versus the Sharks. The Sharks, their history is actually more favourable than the Highlanders. They've won the last 7 out of 10 games against the Highlanders. 3 of them in New Zealand actually, so not a bad record over there. And the most recent one that they've won in Highlander territory was in 2016. For the Highlanders though, it is their first game of the season after having a bye in round 1. While the Sharks already have a win under their belt against the Bulls. The Bulls-Sharks game, it wasn't the best one to watch though. It was they struggled a little bit to get the ball running and get going. It was a first game vibe over there, and they also struggled under the high ball a lot. But we'll see how it goes in the second week for the Sharks, especially after travelling over to New Zealand in the past week. Looking at the teams and only focusing on the key matchups and the key players to save a little bit of time so this video isn't as long as the previous ones. The front row of the Sharks, I think that's going to be an important battle with Thomas du Toit and Oxenchair. It's a combination that didn't perform as well as expected last weekend against the two Bulls props, but I mean, the Bulls props are pretty good. The two Boks will look to dominate against Tukalahi and Johnston from the Highlanders, but it could be an even battle anyway. The second rows for both teams are pretty average. We have Parkinson and Andrews basically in the two teams that have a lot of potential. They're still growing though, they're still getting up there, but they are guys to look out for the future. Loose forwards for the Sharks, they have Norche. He's going to try and run a bit with the ball, open plays, his field of practice where he wants to have the ball. He's a 7-star, so he likes doing that. Where Lentjes for the Highlanders, he's going to want to lead from the front, being the new captain of the side. At number 9, they have Aaron Smith for the Highlanders. He's the only big name left in that side at the moment, and we all know how dangerous he is. We all know what he can do. He's just so dangerous around the fringes. He's just so quick with the ball as well. So it's going to be a big battle for him, and he pairs up with a new number 10, which might be interesting, with Mitch Hunt stepping in from the Crusaders now in for the Highlanders. That's a combo that hasn't been tested yet, and this might be a chance for Schroeder and Bosch to sniff some blood and actually do what Sharks does and actually go for the kill. They weren't the best last weekend though, Bosch and Schroeder, but we all know what Bosch can do with the right gaps in front of him. The number 12 battle will also be an interesting one, with Ioane moving to number 12. He's actually a number 10/15 as well. Moving to number 12, giving you that other playmaking option on the field. That could help as well for the Highlanders. You might see that they have 2 flyers on the field. That could be quite interesting as well. But Ioane is going to have to tackle Esterhuizen, and Ioane's tackling hasn't been the best. He has increased though, he has improved it a little bit. But Esterhuizen is a difficult guy to tackle. He is on his 50th cap as the captain, so that's a good one for him. It's a great milestone in any player's career. Out wide, the only real thing that I can say from the Sharks, they brought in Tambwe for Nkosi, who is out injured. Tambwe, he's making his debut for the Sharks. He's very quick. He came in from the Lions. I still remember the day where he just couldn't stop scoring against the Stormers. So he's going to do well there with Mapimpi on the other side. And of course, we have Fassi at number 15. So the Sharks, they have a dangerous back 3. For the Highlanders, you have to look out for Fainga Nuku, a very dangerous player. His brother, they are already talking about him as being a new All Black. He's 20 years old. This brother is a little bit older, 22 years old. He's been a little bit more around the block. He's basically considered as the worst of the two brothers. But hey, I still think he's good. So we're going to see what he does in this game. For the benches, what we have to look out for the Highlanders, they have Dixon, Parete, look out for him. He played immense rugby last year for the Chiefs, now moved over to the Highlanders. Frizzell, obviously, he's an All Black, he's going to do his thing. And for the Sharks, they have Burden, who's also playing his 50th, and Nohamba, who's being talked up and they're thinking of maybe starting him at number 9 in the near future. So now we get to the prediction for this game. The Sharks, they won by 8 points last weekend. But they seemed lucky at times. The backline didn't really click into gear like we expected it to, that all Springbok backline. They need some more game time or some more ball actually in hand to run with it a bit more in this game. For the Highlanders, it is probably the weakest looking New Zealand side on paper, so they'll have a point to prove. But they have been preparing for this game for a long time, for much longer than the Sharks. The Sharks basically thinking of this game for the last week, whereas the Highlanders, they've been prepping for this opening game for quite a while now. The Highlanders, they know the Sharks' weaknesses, where the Sharks, they haven't really seen the Highlanders play a competitive game yet. So at the end, I think the Highlanders, they are at home. They might lose a few expected ones this year at home though, but I don't think this is the one that they're gonna lose. I think the Highlanders will win by 12 points. Then it is a big Australian derby. This is why I'm wearing this jersey today. It is the Brumbies versus the Rebels. What will surprise most people about this game is the record the Rebels have against the Brumbies. The Rebels have won 6 out of the last 10 games against the Brumbies, and 4 out of the last 5. So they've been pretty successful over the last few years over the Brumbies. 2 of those games being in Canberra. So pretty good for them. The Brumbies, they haven't beaten the Rebels since 2017, and you know, it is an Australian Conference derby, so they play twice a year. It's a big one actually if you see that they haven't won at home in a while against the Rebels. But for the Brumbies, they come off a win, where the Rebels, they came off a horrible defeat to the Sunwolves very unexpectedly. So either the Brumbies will feel they are confident and they can win this one easily, or they will expect a backlash from the Rebels, which is what I'm thinking actually for this one. But at the end of the day, the Brumbies could also have had a loss behind their name last weekend. They only beat the Reds by 3 points, and it was pretty close at times. So the Brumbies aren't safe because of that victory of last weekend. They still have some things to work on. The Rebels, they had a couple of problems up front last week, and as a result they have shuffled the pack a little bit. They brought in Gibbon and Smith in the front row. They have a huge battle against the 2 Wallabies of Sio and Alalatoa in front for the Brumbies. That's going to be a big battle for them. Hookers, I especially highlight the hookers with Falau Fahinga. He's still scoring tries from the maul. Since last year, the Brumbies are still using that maul tactic to get tries. But he's up against Rangi, who's not bad at all either. I think he has something to prove for himself as well. The locking department, the battle over there is going to be pretty good as well. The Brumbies, they have Douglas and Neville, and they are playing against Haylett Petty and Philip. Philip, you can highlight him. Good guy to have in your fantasy team. By the way, fantasy team Superbru links are down in this description below. Let's get to the loose forwards. Valentini, Cusack and Samu for the Brumbies. They're going to give powerful runs like they did last weekend. As for the Rebels, they have Cottrell, Wells and Naisarani. Not too bad themselves either. Hey, they can run just as strong with the ball. Number 9s, we have Powell and Lomani going up against each other. And this is bound to be an interesting one. Both of them are quite quick guys. Both of them actually played for the Barbarians recently. So I think it's going to be quite cool to see how they face off against each other. Matt Tamua at number 10, he gets a chance to prove himself against the new guy on the block that they're already talking up to be a future Wallaby. You know how the media is after one weekend already. He's a future Wallaby. Lolasio, he did not do bad last weekend. I have to give them that. Then the center battle, I think this is going to be a matchup to watch. It's going to be Simone versus Meeks. That's a big battle. You all know I like Meeks. I've said it numerous times. I like how he runs with the ball. He's a powerful runner. And both of them are playmakers in the side. Then it is Kuridrani versus Hodge. It's 2 Wallaby centers over there. Hodge, Wallaby, anything basically. And both of them have a knack of scoring tries or setting up tries for the guys next to them. On the winger, we have Callaway. He has an immense task of tackling Kata in this game. Carter, he is a promising player coming over from league, a powerful runner as well, like we saw last weekend, and he has more to offer still. The Rebels, they also have Kurabeti. He will want to score more tries, especially for me. My fantasy did not go well after picking him as my captain last weekend. I mean, they played against the Sunwolves. He was supposed to score more. I mean, that was my logic, but he didn't do that. So hopefully he has a point to prove this weekend. Fullback, we have Highlanders versus Banks. That's going to be an interesting battle as well. Banks, you know, he has a massive boot. Highlanders likes running with the ball. I think it's going to be a good one. The benches to look out for the Brumbies, they have Slipper and Frost, 2.05 meters tall. They're talking him up as well in the media. They say he's a huge guy. I want to see that as well. And the Rebels, they have Kuchlenberg. I just mentioned him because he's a South African. You'll remember him from the Sharks. Looking at my prediction for the game, the teams are pretty even on paper. And I think the score will be close as well. The only place I see the Brumbies actually dominating the game is at scrum time. With those Wallaby props, it may help them get a few penalties and at the end score some mauling tries. But the Rebels, they have the ability just to win games away from home. You can see from their record in Canberra, even in Super Rugby. So it's a difficult one for me. I have to go with my gut feeling. I always do that, but I keep changing my mind. I think it's going to be a very close one. I keep thinking the Brumbies are going to win by 2, but my gut feeling is saying the Rebels by 2 points in this one. Guys, let me know your prediction for these two games. Also, if you want to check out the Saturday predictions, it will probably be here somewhere next to me or somewhere on the channel. Have a good one, guys. Remember to join the Superbru pools, and then I'll see you again. Cheers.